When I was younger, my family had a houseplant that had super long vines and super purple leaves. And when it was hanging on a hanging hook or a hanging pot, the foliage had grown all the way down to the ground at one point. My parents nicknamed this plant the purple monster for that reason. Now, I'm sure most, if not all of you, have a houseplant of your own, perhaps a cactus of some sort, or maybe a succulent, or even some flowers that you got at the grocery store. Either way, houseplants are multicellular and actually kind of complex organisms. These complexities manifest themselves in your houseplants and are pretty easily distinguishable. And I would like to explore some of the biological concepts that make our green companions so interesting. Now, multicellularity basically just means that there's lots of different cells doing lots of different things. This allows plants to sense and respond to their environment, in particular to light. It also means that they may have some modified organs, and then they also have nutritional needs and will exhibit a certain set of characteristics if they're in a nutrient deficient state. Now, I hope all of you also recognize that plants need light to survive. They undergo a process called photosynthesis, and they basically take light and carbon dioxide and then make it into oxygen and energy and sugars for themselves. Now, there is another concept called phototropism. This refers to a plant's physical response to light, and plants will actually bend towards a light source to optimize their light absorption. And this is due to photoreceptors and a hormone called auxin. In the Biological Sciences 6th edition textbook written by experts in their field, Scott Freeman, among others, they described an auxin experiment. In this experiment, they related the photoreceptors to the hormone auxin, and photoreceptors are just molecules that receive those light signals. And the findings of this experiment concluded that light hits the photoreceptors, they're activated, and then the photoreceptors release a hormone, the hormone auxin, which in turn is responsible for cell elongation. And the cell elongation is what is responsible for the bending of the plant stems. This is clearly seen in this particular plant. And I had this sitting over by my window, and as you can see, the stems of them are kind of curved, and in this case, it is curving towards the light source to optimize its light absorption. And this is also due to auxin, the hormone, and it is just elongating the cells in the stems and lengthening them. All right. Besides some curvy looking stems, sometimes there are other characteristics that you also may not associate with normal plant structure. There are these things called modified organs, which are just features of a plant like the stem or roots or flower that have been modified in some way to accommodate a certain function. Now, thorns are an example of modified shoots. Thorns are seen on rose plants. They're also seen on this crown of thorn plant. And the primary goal for thorns is to protect the organism from predators. Potatoes, also called tubers, are also an example of a modified stem. And the primary goal for potatoes and tubers are they act as storage. So they store excess carbohydrates and starches that the plant produces in a form of this tuber. According to the Current Biology article written by Tamar Ribach in 2013, there was a tomato plant experiment that was conducted, and in the experiment, they isolated a gene for tubular growth. And obviously, tomatoes don't grow tubers, they grow tomatoes. And by activating this gene for tubular growth, they were somehow able to make the tomato plant grow potatoes instead, which is kind of interesting. And tubular growth is also seen in this ZZ plant. In this case, the tubers are located in the root systems. So if you were to take this plant out of the pot, there would be potato-like structures in the roots, which is kind of crazy. Okay. Now, there have been some pretty distinguishable characteristics, and multicellularity is the driving force behind all of these. To continue growth and maintenance of these characteristics, houseplants need nutrients. Like humans, who are also multicellular, we consume our nutrients through the food we eat, but plants can absorb their nutrients through soil and water. Some essential nutrients include nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium, and potassium. And any deficiency in these nutrients may result in stunted growth, chlorosis, which is yellowing of leaves, which is seen on the right side of your screen, and then necrosis, which is dying or dead parts of leaves, which is seen on the left-hand side of your screen. Now, Jennifer Morgan and Aaron Connolly, who are representatives from the Science Department of York Technical College and the Department of Biological Sciences at the University of South Carolina, respectively, they determined that root growth in low nutrient environments will be inhibited in plants. That basically means that if a plant were to grow in sand, for example, sand is a very low nutrient environment. It doesn't hold nutrients very well. The root system of that plant will not be as intricate as a plant living in a high nutrient environment. And to explain that further, basically plant roots grow down and pretty long, and that is in order to increase their absorption of nutrients. But if there are no nutrients to absorb, that plant root will not grow as far and the growth will be inhibited. Now, I have explored just some of the complexities that our houseplants experience. They sense and respond to our environment. They have modified organs, and our shared multicellularity means that they have nutritional needs as well. I hope that this has enlightened you on how exciting our houseplants are and that though they are small, they are mighty. Thank you for your time.